check it out. Oh, already had it open.
We are.
Hey, look at that.
Just got the notification.
What is up, Twitchverse? I don't need to see us over there. And let's turn the volume there. Cool. Send the word out to some people in the world. Phil wanted a timer on the screen for us, but I kind of don't feel like we need one. I feel like we can just keep track.
Yeah, I agree.
Give me my 5 minutes of fame and I'll be fine. I don't really need 5 minutes.
4.5.
Not even. I did make a skit though. Don't rush it.
Okay. I wonder where Philbot's at. How do I sound, by the way, guys?
Right.
Sound good.
Cool, cool. Looks like my levels are about the same as yours. Maybe just a little higher. Let's try that. There we go. I think we're the same now, so let's keep an eye on it. What is that?
It's a new monitor.
Oh, okay. Not nearly as exciting as I'd hoped.
No.
All right, I'll be right back. I need to grab my cell phone and a pen and paper.
I got to write down my notes down that I scribbled on my phone earlier.
I seriously, I studied. I only had one question, so I figured it was an easy one. I needed to make sure it was really
good. Question for like on the podcast or just in general?
He said, "What wine will I get Thanos for his birthday?"
Oh, yeah.
Don't tell John. You're not looking. B-Day card. It's hilarious.
Let's see.
I wasn't on the first one you guys did, so I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I went all actress.
All right, let's see here. Get this out of the way.
I overheard a Marvel nerd discuss the movie with a non-indoctrinated dad today. It was somewhat painful.
I can honestly tell you, I was like, I haven't seen a lot of those movies, so I was just kind of watching it but as a Guardian of the Galaxy fan and having watched both of those, I cried like a little bitch 3 times. And
Thor worked out really well with him.
I jumped because she wanted to sit like halfway in the theater, and I had already been drinking. So I was really into the movie, and we were really close. And I jumped so much. It was too much.
Let's see.
Hello?
Hey, buddy.
Oh, hang
Hey,
on a
it's
second.
Philbot.
Hey,
But is it the real Philbot, or is it a life mile decoy?
does it matter?
I mean, basically the same thing, right?
Exactly. Copy of a copy. Still a copy.
God damn it, I fucked that up.
Stop distracting me.
That's okay. I'm
Your
busy fucking up tweets. Delete. Let's try that again.
tweets. I can't see you.
I can't see you.
Huh.
I saw you a moment ago, but then you vanished.
Oh, there we go.
Like a robot into the night.
Wait a minute. What? My camera should be on.
It was for a moment, I know that.
Do you have the Facebook tape off of it? Anti-Facebook tape?
Anti-Facebook tape. No. I want everybody to see what I do. I think it would be much more amusing. Okay. Wait. Okay. So can you guys see me now?
Yeah.
Hey, there you are.
Okay. My internet connection is not terribly fantastic out here. Remember where Emporia, Virginia is?
No.
Where? What?
Emporia, Virginia?
No, I don't think I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, it's what is it? West of Norfolk by about 70 miles. Middle of fucking nowhere. Hate
That
this
sounds
place.
like middle of nowhere. That's like when
Hey, how
they
does
sent.
my sound?
That's like when they sent me
how's
and
my audio?
Samson to Lynchburg, Virginia, for that WIFCOM training
Oh yeah.
back in the day. Man, was that ever?
That's about the same place.
That was a weird fucking town.
Oh, Samson.
Weird place. It's
Yeah,
like
all of
it's
Virginia.
where Jerry Falwell's church is at, and his home. So it was a really strange town. It seemed like everybody felt like they were guilty of something.
Yeah, that's pretty much the place too. How's my audio?
Little
Not
low.
too bad. Say something.
How's this?
It's a little.
Muffly?
Yeah, that's not the worst
Muffly?
phrase for it. It's.
All right,
What
let
are you
me,
using for your audio capture?
I was gonna say you should hear me explain car sounds.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. That's what you're using. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me try something else here.
It's all good.
I have to let this breathe.
We've had worse.
Started.
Better than Todd's breathing last D&D episode.
The Vader episode.
Yes.
Well,
Oh my gosh.
let me test something. Welcome.
I can do better. Hang on a
See
second.
if that shows up. Hey, cool. It did show up. All right. So if anybody posts anything, I will see it.
Kind of smells like a freaking cigar.
Pull up this.
Phil, I didn't tell you, but I told John I have props.
Props.
Yes.
I'm very interested to see what these are.
It's as serious as I'm gonna take this.
Well, you know.
You're not going to be destroying your computer in the process, are you?
You can't take life too seriously. You'll never get out alive.
I'm serious all the time. What are you talking about?
It's a quote from a movie.
I almost made a birthday hat with the little the wheel thing, and then put the little daughter on a little spring. That way I could pull her back and she would spring into the wheel. That was disgusting. No. Never remembers that part. Okay.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Damn it.
Did Phil fall into the well?
Oh, you must be logged on twice also, I guess, Phil? Are you BEB Podcast?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Yes. Can you hear us?
Yeah, now I can.
You're
Yeah.
broadcasting through your phone, aren't you?
I was going through my iPad, but apparently that's not working out so well.
Oh, there it goes. All right.
Now your audio is good, but echoey.
Yep.
You need to get some furniture in that room, Phil.
Echoey?
You just need to break down and buy something like this, Phil. See, this is what you need.
Holy crap.
We ain't fucking around no more. We got this and that. There we go.
Yeah. Get some quality mic, guys.
Dude.
Okay, how's this?
All right.
It came in the box.
There we go. What's in the box? What's in the box?
All right, I have one more
Okay.
thing I need.
So I guess it is technically 7:48 now, and we should kick this thing off. Probably. One moment. I'm just grabbing. We have questions from our fans that I'm trying to compile a little bit into some meaningful order.
I have 0 answers except for the question you proposed to me
So if
earlier.
you give me half a second more.
Here you go, Phil. See?
Infinity
That is
Gauntlet.
so cool.
Yeah.
When did you get that? How old were you when you got that?
I got it 91. This is first, when it came out. Actually, that might be a lie because all my comic books are stolen at some point, and I had to go out and rebuy a bunch of things.
Oh, damn.
I forget. This might have been after that, but I had one of the original ones, and this one's signed by the artist, and then I have another one that is not signed, so I can get my grubby fingers all over it, and read it.
All right. We are live. And
I didn't even know there was a comic called Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah. 1990, or this actually came out in 1991. and like they had a whole like lead up to it. This was a 6-issue like series that came out, and they had a bunch of crossover with like all of the Avengers and Silver Surfer and a bunch of other like comic book stuff. There was a spin-off of, well, this made money, so they had Infinity War after this, and then Infinity Crusade was basically like all of the leftovers after this. Like other shit happened, but hopefully they don't make movies of those because those stories weren't that good. But this story pretty good. So the actual comic book Infinity War, that was the second miniseries. But Infinity Gauntlet is basically what's happening in the movie Avengers Infinity War. So not to be confused.
So I
Not-
was really, really sad. Oh, never mind. We'll start again.
What was bad? All right.
I said I was really, really sad.
Oh.
What?
But
Yeah.
Okay, so
It was
let's
perfect.
get this thing
How
going
many-
because
how-
we've already started discussing it. Welcome to the Blue Elephant
How
Brigade
many-
podcast. With us tonight we have Philip Hernandez, Josh Schwartz, Tabitha Ray Miller, and myself, John Hoover. How y'all doing this evening? Not that we haven't already started talking about stuff, but how y'all doing this evening?
Pretty great. Pretty good. Glad to be here talking about
Not too bad.
a film that took forever to get here.
I've
Yeah,
almost
dude.
never felt so
10
prepared
years in the
in my
making?
life.
Yeah.
So prepared.
Epic culmination of, the greatest, maybe one of the greatest movie achievements ever. We're only
Yeah,
10
this
years
is
of film, connected universe.
This is we're briefly discussing before the actual introduction that like these were the comic books that I got into comic books with like this storyline back in the early 90s. So this is like my childhood bundled up in like a 2.5 hour movie in the last 10 years also. But
Yeah, someday they'll do the one that I associate most with my childhood, which would be Maximum Carnage, Spider-Man. It will be the first ever rated R Spider-Man movie.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, they got Venom coming out, but
Yeah.
let's not talk about that, here.
That'll be another conversation. Okay, so we're gonna focus on Avengers: Infinity War for this one. Before we get too sidetracked, let's go around the table. What everybody think of it from a what's everybody's base thoughts on Avengers: Infinity War? How do you feel about it, Tabby?
I enjoyed it a lot, even though I cried
There's
Awesome.
nothing wrong with crying at a movie.
multiple times.
Okay.
Multiple times. Wow.
But I
Oh,
know that-
and I guess we should say this up front. Spoilers. Clearly,
Yeah, some
obviously,
spoilers.
there are going to be spoilers
Plenty.
over this thing.
Spoilers.
Spoilers all up in your face. Deal with it. If you don't want the movie spoiled, go listen to something else that isn't this.
Or go watch the movie as soon as you can, and
Yes.
then play this.
And then, yeah, that's probably good idea, Phil. That's probably a better idea than mine of just abandon. Yeah, go watch the movie, then come back and listen to this. All right. So, Tabby, besides crying and tears, how you feel about the movie?
No, I thought it was really, really good. I didn't expect as much humor, but not humor and full array of emotions. I enjoyed it.
Josh, what you got for us?
I'm usually pretty like skeptical and like I got nitpicking on stuff, but this movie I can really only think of like 2 like issues that I had with it, but overall I'm just like picking on things like super great. Very happy. I dreaded the worst and I could not be more pleased, I think.
Outstanding. Phil, how'd your robot heart feel about it?
I absolutely loved it. Same here. I actually had emotions throughout the whole movie. There were a few times when I found myself literally on the edge of my seat. At one point, my girlfriend was sitting next to me, and she leaned back and bumped me, and I didn't even realize I was leaning forward so much. It's pretty great.
Nice.
Mm.
Yeah, I would agree with all that. I thought it was, I was absolutely captivated by it. I thought it was an amazing piece of cinema. Definitely sad, certain parts of it incredibly sad. They did an amazing job of blending tragedy, horror, and humor all into one film. The fact that it has parts that are as funny as they are.
The pacing was amazing. Like that's like the longest movie I've sat through, and like not been like, all right, that there could have been some crap taken out of there.
Yeah, there's no slow. There could have been some more stuff added in. I think probably. Really,
Yeah, probably.
it seems like there's. I remember as I was watching, there's a few parts where it was like, wow, that they didn't really explain that at all, or like that happened really fast. Stuff like that.
But it was 2.5 hours long.
It was.
Yeah.
There's definitely that's something that we could tell people if they haven't seen it yet. There are no pee breaks.
There really aren't. There's no like, hey, I'm gonna jump up and go to the bathroom and come back 5 minutes later, and the story hasn't moved forward. The story is moving.
So most movies, I usually have to go to the restroom in the middle, and I don't want to miss any part of it, but it's acceptable. This time we made plans hours in advance, planned out our meals, and did not drink anything or eat anything in the movie.
Did you dehydrate yourself to the edge of passing out?
I think so, but I don't remember it.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
It was not hard to ignore everything else, that's for sure.
Yeah. Dehydration like brings on like more emotions and makes a richer movie experience. Yeah.
Well, think about Iron Man out there. He has no sustenance. If they can do it, I think we should be able to do it.
I'm pretty sure the suit will purify his pee for him so he can drink it.
Yeah. He's probably got a camelback in there.
All right, so given that those are our broad thoughts on it,
like my mental images just totally went there.
How about like our favorite moments? What's everybody's favorite moment from the movie?
Already?
Does anybody have a favorite moment of the movie?
Yeah, I got a favorite moment. Moment. I don't know what to call it other than the moon punch, where like Thanos like closes the gauntlet and like pulls like the moon down, like
breaks up the. Does Titan have a moon? That was one thing I was wondering today as I was sitting in my office. So. I was like, I was thinking about this. I wonder if Titan actually has any moons of its own. Is it the only moon that has moons? Is when we need Jonathan Schmid on here, our resident astrophysics. Schmid, if you're out there, chime in. Come on, we need an answer, man. Although he hasn't seen it yet. So, Schmid was one of the guys on the ship with us.
He's totally not gonna watch it until he's not gonna watch it.
I'm looking. I'm
doing the Google.
But man, just visually and like the weight like of the scene was like it felt like I've complained before where like the CG on things like doesn't really seem like they're like throwing around things that are like supposed to be tons of actual tons, but it seems like they're moving around feathers, and all of this actually seemed like there was mass like to everything, and that was really satisfying.
Yeah, it wasn't the plastic rock effect, right? Where the rock hits the ground and bounces 10 feet in the air. Yeah.
Well, did you sit through the end credits to see how many people were involved in that?
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah.
I was like, come on, end credits.
Unbelievable.
Something else coming.
All right, so what was your favorite part of the movie, Phil?
It was actually close to the end. I don't know if we should get into the ending parts of the movie yet.
Yeah, we can. We can jump around. I don't think we're going to go through it piece by piece because that would take 6 hours if we're going to go through it piece by piece.
So
when awesomeness.
When everybody started disappearing, Spider-Man, I mean, everybody disappeared in a matter of seconds, right? But Spider-Man, he started out saying he didn't feel very good, and then for like 20 or 30 seconds, he's slowly disappearing in pain the entire time, and starts almost crying that he doesn't want to go.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that seemed a bit weird too. Like to me, like.
Yeah, they drew his out a bit more than everybody else, right? With the I don't feel so good. However, there definitely was an emotional punch to it also because they did that.
A couple of the other ones were drawn out as well, though. They just weren't the people weren't talking because there was nobody else around them, with the exception of Groot. is the only other one that talked.
Well, I just felt that they elicited a lot more emotion with Spider-Man than anybody else.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Groot also. Do you know what Groot said with his final "I am Groot"? James Gunn revealed what the final "I am Groot" is.
in Twitter,
He said it was Dad. It was Groot saying "Dad" to Rocket as he was dying.
That was cry scene number 4 for me at home after Googling it.
Yeah, pretty tragic.
Yeah, he looked pretty sad.
Yeah.
I guess the kids. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I don't want any kids of my own, but kids dying is not so cool.
No, not so much.
Yeah.
Well, and I think
I don't really care for teenage Groot anyway. So
yeah, he's kind of douche.
But I think that's the point too is that might be why they drove those two out, is to recognize the fact that everybody else was totally okay with dying, but the 2 kids were not ready.
I don't know they're okay with it necessarily.
Well, they knew it was a possibility.
Right.
yeah.
Like,
Tabby, what was your favorite moment?
at one point, I know that I laughed louder than everybody in the entire theater, and then I just couldn't stop. And then I felt bad because I was laughing still, and the joke was over. I'm pretty sure it was Iron Man that said something, and I totally forgot because I was drinking. But I just, oh man, favorite. I like the fact because I had never seen Doctor Strange. I hadn't seen him yet. So I really enjoyed his parts and seeing his character for the first time because I thought he was really, I thought it was a good character. So
Yeah.
that I didn't know.
I agree. I'd recommend that movie. That's one of mine. That's one of the good ones, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely a good movie for sure.
There's
I've
definitely
watched that
two
one
I'm gonna
multiple
watch
times.
now that I hadn't seen.
Yeah, Doctor Strange was a really good movie actually. It's definitely worth the time of watching it.
I liked Spider-Man's comment about using their made-up names now.
That's a good joke. It really is. Oh, we're using our made-up names.
How could I be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man?
Which is a callback to the Doctor Strange movie also, because there's a similar joke in that where he's introducing himself and he's what does he say?
I know
the
there's
joke's
something
like
about him being strange.
yeah, it's like what's your name? He gets asked what his name is. He's like Strange. Oh, Mr. Strange. It's like it's Doctor Strange. I know.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, something like that. Anyways, but it works. It definitely works in the movie.
Yeah.
So my favorite part of it, I think, there's a bunch of parts I like. The fight with Thanos is fantastic on Titan that they have. I like the fight when they get up into the, I don't know what the ship's actually called, the circular one, where they
The donut.
they're like, yeah, the donut, and
Flying donut.
when Tony Stark goes, yeah, but the kids see more movies than me, and he blasts the wall out. Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, the
that was
reference
pretty
to
great.
Alien.
Yeah. But I think my
that's one of the
favorite
part-
is
yeah.
just because it's the most, I think it might be the most pure comic moment that like comic book moment that has happened in any of these movies so far, is when Thor restarts a neutron star by strapping himself to a spaceship and pulling really hard on the rings around it.
Uh-huh.
Like that's probably the most like epic, ridiculous comic book moment. And for all the ridiculousness in these movies, that's probably the most over the top thing that totally fits in with like something that they would do in the comic book.
Little rabbit.
Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. Yeah, him and the rabbit.
Yeah, that killed me. Like I loved him calling raccoon rabbit.
Yeah. He's Asgardian. He doesn't know the difference.
But at the same, like the guy that plays the dwarf guy that's there.
Dinklage.
Oh, Peter Dinklage.
That was
The
cool.
same guy, and he was like, "But you know it," and all I could think the whole time was like, "I drink, and I know things." Like I said it in my head like 4 times.
Yeah.
I was saying, like, "Well, I know," and I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
I do know. You should
That was
drink."
cool seeing a giant dwarf.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Yeah. I didn't care for Dinklage in the part. He seems like, and like every role that I've seen him in other than Tyrion
Yeah.
in Game of Thrones, he seems like kind of like flat like as a character.
Huh.
But
I didn't mind his character. I kind of have a problem with that whole scene. Or like, there's a couple things that I take issue with plot wise
Too dark.
that don't make a whole lot of sense to me in the movie. Yeah, like
Yeah.
so,
yeah,
like that part. So they go to, how do you pronounce it? Nephilim? Is that right?
Niflheim?
Tabby agrees with me. It must be right.
Yeah.
Niflheim?
Niflheim? Yeah, we'll go with Niflheim. I'm on board for that. So they go to Niflheim, and Thanos' whole thing is like killing off half of the planets, like killing off 50%. But for some reason in Niflheim, he decided to kill off everyone and take Peter Dinklage's hands, but leave him alive all the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Well, that makes sense. Well,
Yeah.
that kind of made sense to me because he didn't want anybody else to make any weapons.
yeah, but
Let
he didn't
me-
stop him from making
Let
weapons.
me nerd bitch for a bit about that scene, because like they like melted like whatever ore and like ingots they were doing to make the axe,
Right.
and then they just poured it in a mold. They
Right.
made a cast iron axe. They didn't forge like anything. Like,
No, they didn't at all.
like-
There was
like,
no
Dinklage
forging.
had like metal hands. They lost like an opportunity for like Dinklage to be like
Yeah.
I keep saying Dinklage, but his character like to
Don't
actually
you
use
need
it
that?
as like a hammer and
Right.
like use some actual ironwork and stuff. But
Yeah,
no,
it really
they just
didn't.
made a cast iron axe.
That was one of those scenes where it seemed like maybe there was supposed to be more there, and they reshot it and cut it out for some reason or something. Like, it
Yeah.
didn't make sense that they killed everyone off for one thing.
Yeah.
And then
And why wouldn't you have the handle there if you needed it? And plus, like, you never need a handle when you're forging. That can be made like decades later. It doesn't matter.
yeah, like to pull the two pieces of metal together, because that's what's gonna hold.
Because then Groot
this-
wouldn't have another point in the whole movie. Like,
Yeah.
Which I'm.
It's like
I'm-
he's just there to sell things.
I am Groot.
I was totally cool with like them using. I thought it was cool that they used Teenage Groot's arms, and he cut off his own arm in order to make a handle. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, they could have done it. They could have done it differently.
But
I
it
don't
was
think
like-
it needed to be the time crunch. Like,
Yeah, why are we
I did
pulling?
like that. You understand him? Yeah, it was an elective.
We're gonna use the wood from his hands to hold together this giant two pieces of metal in this battle axe. What? Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
he is the only being of his kind, right? We don't know what he can and cannot do.
True. Yes, he is
Right.
supposed to be the only one.
But in the first Guardians movie, like he totally.
Well, this is
Like,
Groot.
all
This is
of
that Groot's
that-
son, though. This isn't the same Groot. Groot died in the first one. This is his son.
Yep.
He grew from like
Yeah, from a
from
seed
twig Groot.
or a twig or whatever. But yeah, this is supposed to be his son. This isn't the same Groot. No memories or anything like that.
But I'm saying like it's the awesomeness he did in that first scene with protecting them from that fiery blast and blah 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 and all that stuff.
Mhm.
It doesn't seem unlikely that he'd be strong enough to wield
Hmm.
a piece of iron.
Oh yeah, I don't have a problem with them pulling it together. I have more of a problem with the idea that the wood is going to hold together two giant pieces of metal,
Oh.
and that it came just from a mold.
Okay, but
versus-
on
yeah, whatever.
on that topic, what about Mjolnir? You know, I mean, what was the handle made out of for Mjolnir? You know,
Yeah.
I don't,
I don't
I don't
know.
think it was
Another
steel.
Groot's arms. It turns out there's a whole planet of armless Groots out there.
Yeah, that's why he's the
Asgardians
last
need
one,
weapons.
because the Asgards killed them all for for handles.
That's right.
Fucking Asgardians.
That
Oh,
sounds like
speaking of-
something that, like Odin would do. That's a very dick like thing.
That is a very dick thing. It does sound a bit like Odin.
Well, he was a jerk in the beginning, right? He only calmed
Yeah.
down after like 5,000 years of living.
This is true, yeah.
You know,
You guys ever watch Dirty Love with Jenny McCarthy?
Mm-mm.
No.
Disgustingly funny, but
Waiting to see how this connects.
there's one part where he just goes, she's dating this guy, and he's like, magic. That's kind of what I wanted to do.
Yes, suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
So, all right. Since we've kind of gone down this road already, how about least favorite moments in the movie? What do you guys got?
Hmm.
Well, the very beginning really annoyed me. You know, even before the movie starts,
Okay.
all of the Asgardians are dead.
Right.
You know, all you've got left is Thor and Loki.
And Hemnal.
I was gonna say
And Hammer, yeah.
Yeah.
They actually
Yeah.
came out and said that half of the people escaped.
Right. Yeah. So there's a few missing. If you watch Thor Ragnarok, there's a couple key characters that are on the ship at the end of Thor Ragnarok that are completely gone.
Yeah,
Oh.
they've confirmed that the Valkyrie, Korg,
Yep.
and Meek. Well, I'm assuming Meek is still alive.
He might still be alive. He might have got stepped on again. You know.
He's been carried by Korg. But yeah, I was very disappointed that they didn't show that. But the directors actually said that like off camera.
Yeah. So spoilers for Thor Ragnarok also. Yeah. Again, if you haven't seen all the Marvel movies by now, I don't know what to tell you. Sorry. Spoilers. Yeah, Phil. But yeah, so if you watch Thor Ragnarok, the end of that it ties directly into the start of this movie. You actually the extra scene in Thor Ragnarok is the Sanctuary 2, which is what is Thanos' ship, is coming
Have you
up
not seen
on
Thor Ragnarok, Phil?
Well, yeah, but I thought the end of that movie, I thought the after credits was just them being on the ship looking out and heading toward Earth.
No, Thanos' ship like comes up, and there's like no time, like that's like they're like, we're gonna go like on a grand adventure, and then Thanos' ship's like there, and is like, no, fuck you guys.
and it's 1,000 times bigger than their ship.
Are you fucking kidding me? I missed a fucking after credits. What the? Okay. I'll be right back. I need to go watch that.
It's all right. I didn't watch that one at all.
So yeah,
I was a bit upset there was no Korg like in like the open in that scene.
Right.
But,
yeah, I noticed that too. I was like, did they couldn't have just not had them.
Yeah.
They must have escaped or something. And so maybe we'll give them maybe they will show up in the fourth one.
Yeah.
You might still get Korg.
The directors have actually been like really forthright with like fan like rumors that have been like, what about this? Or like maybe it's like this, and like if like a lot of things they're like, no. Or like yes.
Like, yeah, we thought of that. This is why. Yeah.
Well, at least you weren't there the whole time going, where the fuck is his eye? Where's his eye at?
But yeah, that was like missing that battle a little bit and coming in like after they had slaughtered all the Asgardians. Yeah.
I was like, who jacked him up? I thought he was supposed to be a god. Whatever.
Yeah.
Well, they're not gods. They're practically gods. Their technology is so far advanced that it's
Excuse me.
kind
Tabby,
of like
what was
Q
your,
on Star Trek.
What was your least favorite, Tabby?
I think because I've only seen a couple of the movies, I think it's a really good standalone movie, with the exception of Vision.
Okay.
Like it was just weakness, like the whole time. Like, what does this guy do? Anything?
So that was part of so Vision in Ages of Ultron is a badass. Like kind of invincible type. I don't know if you're aware, like one of Vision's big things is that he can phase through material. So like he can literally put his arm through you into your chest and just grab your heart if he wanted to and rip it out of you. You know, stuff like that. But one of the things that they mentioned real briefly is that when he gets struck by Corvus Glaive,
I couldn't phase.
he can't phase anymore. So it takes it out of him. They don't explain why that is at all ever in the movie, which kind of sucks. That there's no like explanation behind it. Yeah.
I think the movie stands alone really well by itself, with the exception of his character.
Yeah, they don't show him as being anything special.
Yeah, I never saw Doctor Strange either, or his little sidekick. And then the chick was badass, so I was like, who cares who the fuck she is? She's awesome. But at the same time, like his character, he didn't do anything.
Yeah. So I can also jump in. Like this was also one of my main complaints. Like we already briefly talked. Like my main least favorite part was probably like parts in the Dinklage like axe forging scene. But number two, my biggest complaint was Vision. Like, why is he such a bitch in this movie? Like he's got the Soul Stone. He has tremendous power, and he just kind of like whines the whole time.
He was trying to fit in with freaking humans, little soft, little meaty humans.
Yeah. I know you sympathize, Phil.
Do you feel, Phil, as though he was a poor representation of your kind? Are you ashamed to be associated with that?
I would like to point out that he is the only character that you had to literally turn back time to kill. Everybody else just dies, but Thanos literally had to be right in front of him and turn back time in order to kill him.
He was already dead though. He died twice. Yeah, he got murdered twice.
Oh, so shitty. He
No,
died
he-
twice.
Because they blow the gem up in his
He had to
forehead.
die twice, Phil.
No, he got his girl to destroy the stone.
Yeah, but he was
And
destroyed.
he
There was no
happens to die.
Vision left.
Like
There
that.
were Vision pieces everywhere, but there was no whole thing that you call Vision.
You can't hurt me.
But he accomplished his task.
Fair.
I only-
Okay.
Phil,
By letting somebody else kill him.
By
On
blowing
two
up
on
really
two
well.
separate occasions.
Okay, who else had to go through time? Okay, the only time travel was Strange going through
14 billion
804.
Or 14 million, yeah, something. Yeah.
Yeah.
64 or
Oh.
something like that.
Phil, are you wearing panties? This is in a twist.
So, I'm just stating that he's a tough bastard, even though he showed his softer side.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, he still could have done like a lot, even if he couldn't phase. Like the Soul Stone, he's supposed to have
It's not
telepathy
Mind
and
Stone, Mind Stone.
telekinesis. Oh,
What?
Mind Stone. Sorry.
Mind
Telepathy. Powers are right. Telepathy and telekinesis,
Yeah.
and like he didn't do anything.
No, he didn't do, really anything at all. I mean, the one time when he tried to use the blast, it got deflected by the mystical glaive, apparently. That can't be damaged by whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And I still don't think he had even a remote chance against Thanos with
No. Oh,
the
no.
rest of the Soul Stone, rest of the Infinity Gems. But I mean, put up a fight, do something.
Yeah. Don't just lay there and cry a little bit.
Yeah.
So my least favorite part was the moment with Star-Lord punching Thanos in the face because of Gamora dying. Like, I just don't buy it that he was so overcome with grief by the chick that he's trying to hook up with that he couldn't hear Tony Stark tell him, hey, don't murder half the fucking universe, asshole. Control yourself. And then we'll worry about Thanos after we get this fucking glove off. Like, it's not Han and Leia. It's not
Yeah.
it's not Princess Bride couple. It's not one of these epic couples. It's just Gamora and Star-Lord who, as romantic as we've seen them kiss once and hold hands. And that's about all the affection they've shown from each other. I think they danced together once or twice.
Peter
They
does
kissed in
do.
this movie too.
Huh?
They kissed in this movie.
Right. This is the only time they've kissed.
How long have you been standing? No.
He-
Like, I don't buy that, that he cares that much.
I can turn really still and turn invisible.
Well, I think he's like
That's maybe my favorite joke in the whole movie.
Which one?
Yeah.
Is Drax when he's explaining how he's learned to turn invisible.
I move so slowly.
So good.
Yeah. We did.
Oh,
So
that's good.
Peter's done like Peter normally does. Star-Lord does a lot of things like off the cuff and irresponsible. That's kind of in his character, but I do
Yeah.
agree that was pretty weak.
Yeah, I don't buy it, and I don't think there's a real fix for it. Like, I don't know how they would have developed their relationship more without having like another Guardians of the Galaxy movie to somehow develop their relationship more.
Well, and I think there had to be obviously they were winning at that point, and so there had to be something.
Right, there had to be something that was going to trip him up for them to almost get there and then screw it up. But also, I just want to point out, he had a gun in his hand. And instead of shooting Thanos in the face, he cold cocks him with it.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess I
Well,
didn't.
last time it shot bubbles, so
Yeah,
That's true.
true enough.
What was the blue chick's name? Not Gamora, right?
Nebula.
Nebula. So why would she mention that right then if she's so fucking brilliant? She wants Thanos to die.
I don't think she's that brilliant.
Well, she's
I don't know.
Thanos' daughter. She's killed a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I mean, she's another one of your folks, Phil. She's a cyborg like you. You tell us.
in the
No, she isn't. She was turned into a cybernetic being.
Oh,
the,
okay. She approached it
yeah.
from the other direction. Got it.
In the comic
Yeah.
books, Thanos actually keeps Nebula like by his side as like this deformed like figure, and like kind of like keeps her like half. I forget if she's like just half like dead, but like she can't speak or like anything like that. And in the comic book, actually, how they win, like she like is able to catch him off guard after he's already won, and take the gauntlet and like reform her body. And then in the moment of like her like getting used to her powers, like they take the gauntlet off and like redo. The heroes finally win and everything. But
Well, that's exceedingly gruesome.
yeah, she's got a different, like in the comic books, Thanos is trying to court death, and he's
Right.
trying to make death like him by giving her all these souls of people and that he's killing.
Oh, and his reasoning
This is
for
obviously
doing
way
this,
deeper than I knew.
yeah, his reasoning for doing all this,
Mhm.
I can kind of understand it because overpopulation is
Yeah, they did
freaking.
amazing job making him a relatable character
Yes.
and not just like I'm bad, hate
Yep.
me.
Yeah, he's
This
definitely one of the
totally
best
brings us
Marvel
into my-
villains for sure. And I would say he is actually a like memorable villain outside of the Marvel universe as far as like cinema goes. Like he's one of those villains that people are gonna, an iconic villain. Maybe not Vader level, but pretty iconic.
Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't mind his appearance. Like I know that people were like worried and bitching about he didn't have his standard armor on that he was in previews, but like I
He
actually
didn't
made
need
him
it.
seem more like a person, since he had armor on
Yeah.
it sometimes and like took armor off and like actually had some costume change.
Maybe even more of a badass that he's taking these guys on with. Basically, he wears armor when he's going to battle, but then when he's fighting, just off the cuff, he still is whooping ass. It's kind of crazy.
I was kind of surprised to learn that he started out as a regular being and then developed into what he is.
He was basically was born with, he's a birth defect more or less, is what it was. Is that he was born abnormal, and so that's how he ends
Yeah.
up how he is. In the comics, he has a brother, I think, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
He's from Titan and
What was the joke about the
What's
ball
his
sack?
brother's name? Something Luck, isn't it? His brother has a really goofy
Been a
name.
while.
I know that.
But the rest of the Titans look like pretty much like normal like people and stuff. Different color skin. But
Kevin, what did you
yeah,
ask?
Thanos was always abnormal.
What was the joke
I
about
said-
what?
What was the joke about the ball sack on his chin?
Oh, yeah, ball sack for a chin.
Oh gosh, there was just so many funny parts about it. I think we should go into my question because it's
Star
really
Fox. Star Fox was Thanos' brother in the comics. So, anyways, Tabby, we posed a question to you about Thanos.
and I studied.
Okay, you studied. So the question, I believe, was, what kind of wine would you get Thanos for his birthday?
I don't know. You guys probably don't know me, but I'm not like just an anything gift giver, so I really had to think about it.
Okay.
You can't just give a shit a gift, right? So obviously, I had to choose between red and white. So obviously, I chose red.
Mm-hmm.
And then I looked into the grapes and what pairing it would be best with, and I decided that he would be paired with meat, but not just like prepared meat, like any kind of meat, like steak, beef, and then there was like wild game and all kinds of crap. And I was like, oh yeah, because you don't know what he's gonna eat because he's weird. So then, yeah, so it's the Syrah
Okay.
grape. That's what I decided on, which means that we were going with something like that. So since that grape produces the deepest and darkest reds with the most intense flavor and longevity, I was like, oh, this is totally great. He's gonna dig it. So, okay, so there's two most notable types of the grapes or made with that grape. It's the Hermitage and the Koti Roti, which is definitely probably not how you say that, but I like it. The Hermitage I thought was appropriate because at the end of the movie, when he's like coming out and looking at the sunset in this little like hermit thing by himself and just enjoying it. And then the Koti Roti is known for its fragile balance, which is his whole thing.
Very
Right.
nice.
Excellent picks.
So, yeah. So if you combine those two, you get the most robust wine, which is the Cornus.
Cornus?
Cornus
Alright.
is his wine. It turns out that Cornus is really fucking expensive though. So he did not get that.
It's got a gauntlet they can trade for some money, you know.
For Christmas. He did, or for his birthday. He did get something though, and I will tell you after I read you his birthday card.
We have a birthday card for Thanos. Okay. Okay.
Wow.
You went all out here.
I did. I told you I had props. I'm a really good.
All right. So this is Thanos' birthday card by Tabitha Miller.
Yep. That man is a success who is happy with himself and gives happiness to others. Happy birthday to a man who makes the world a better place. Destroying half of it. Destroying half of it. I just edited it just a smidge. And it worked. And so this is his wine. It is the Freak Show.
Oh my gosh. The Freak Show.
Red.
Very nice. Well done, Tabby. Damn.
Thank you. It says, so the most notable things about this, it says it's very robust, features aromas of campfire smoke, which I thought was also appropriate because everybody goes into dust, and a pinch of spice.
Hint of Spider-Man.
Yeah. Little piece of Spider-Man thrown in. Every bottle.
The wine is well balanced again. And it says it's a mashup of Man Meets Wild, and it's a freak like no other. And then in quotations on the website, it says, marvel at the wonders of our 2015 Freak Show Red.
Well, there we go. The official wine of Thanos. Freak
And
Show
it is
Red.
quite tasty. So that is his.
I
his
like it.
wine.
Outstanding.
I'm sure you'll be in the half that's spared.
That has got to be the
It's
most
because I ate
elaborately
in the park.
researched.
All right. So, next thing I want to make sure that we get to before we get done here, how do we think that this is going to resolve itself? Right? Because one of the things that I know I had to do is I had to try and I had to kind of approach this like I approached some of my characters in D&D is the way I thought about it, where I had to forget about the player knowledge I have and just focus on my knowledge about this universe and this movie, because I know there's another Black Panther movie, and I know there's another Spider-Man movie, so they're going to come back. But I tried to suspend that in order to appreciate this movie more by itself. That being said, they're coming back. So how do we think that this is going to be resolved in order to get those guys back? They have to come back to the universe somehow.
The Soul Stone.
Explain.
It's a soul stone.
Okay.
It holds souls.
So you think all the souls went into the Soul Stone?
I hope so.
Okay.
That's
Then
been
again, I was reading some comments and it said, just let them cry, which I thought was hilarious. Like, these comic guys are arguing with each other. Oh, they're going to come back. They're going to do this. They're going to do this. And then the other guy's just like, just let them cry. Oh, okay.
So I did read an interview with the directors, and they clarified some things about the ending when Thanos is there. And if you guys saw that, like, the glove was damaged.
Right. You
And
see him
like-
first without it with Gamora. Right. He doesn't
Yeah.
have the glove on when you see baby Gamora again. And then he shows at the very end he shows up with the glove again.
Yeah. So they said that he is inside the Soul Stone.
Okay, I
So
was
Thanos
wondering
is
about
inside
that.
the Soul Stone, and Gamora there isn't really Gamora, but just like his representation of like loss and things that he did to get to this point.
Okay. So he's in the Soul Stone.
Yes, and they said that the people that are missing are not in like the Soul Stone realm.
Oh, so they are gone basically.
Yeah.
Or at least not
So-
there. Okay.
That's
So-
still like from my point of view, it's still Time Stone. Like it's kind of unlimited power. Like,
Maybe
you can,
I don't think they're going to do that though, just because it feels cheap.
yeah.
Like if you just rewind it, then it doesn't mean anything. You know?
I think they would definitely should take this opportunity to get rid of some characters / actors that aren't interested in like
Yeah, I
another
mean, you
20
assume
20
that-
years of movie.
Assume that Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America don't make it through the next movie. Probably those three will probably be gone from the next movie. whatever it takes in order to make this happen. So one of my hopes is that I don't think this is how it will be resolved. This is how I want it to be resolved. I want Tony Stark it to be like a year or two down the road, and he's trying to figure out how the hell get everybody back. And you find out that he's collaborating with another scientist whose name just happens to be Reed Richards, and that they roll in the Fantastic Four, and their creation story becomes part of getting everyone back. You know,
Well,
maybe instead of everybody dying, they split the universes in two, and there's now
okay.
another universe. And
All right, let me build on to this. Fantastic Four, one of the things that they have used in their storylines, and specifically against Galactus, is the Ultimate Nullifier. It's like another all-powerful weapon that actually doesn't kill a thing. It actually removes them from time.
Okay.
And so, like, by using it on, like, Galactus in the story, or threatening to use it on him,
Right. Yep.
they would have, like, used it and, like, undone everything that he did.
Yeah.
And
So that's what I'm hoping they'll do, is that he'll be collaborating with this guy named Reed Richards, and Sue Richards will be there, and Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm, and they'll all go, and somehow those four end up just vanishing, you know, as this is going on, taking place, or whatever, to go to another universe where, like, everyone else is gone. Maybe there's another reality now where half of the half that vanished all went to this other reality, you know, and they had
I
to
don't
combine
think
them or
so,
something.
only because this great thing called foreshadowing, which I love. It's my favorite thing in movies. But Doctor Strange, he said there's only one way that they could win. And then, as he's disappearing, he says to Tony, so Tony obviously has to be there and has to be involved in the fix. He says, it has to be this way.
mm-hmm.
Right.
So
yeah.
he knows what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Tony's definitely going to be in the.
So Lotan just logged in on our chat, and makes an excellent point that if the Fantastic Four do show up and Johnny Storm is part of all this, Chris Evans will need to play both Captain America and Johnny Storm in the movie.
It's a requirement.
Needs to happen.
You just never see him in the same scene at the same time.
Yes, exactly.
Can I have
That's actually Captain America's alter ego.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Well, I'm assuming that this is going to be a reset of the Marvel Universe. Maybe not
Effectively,
immediately, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
within
and
the
the
next
one
few
thing that
years.
we haven't, the one thing that's going to happen between now and then, well, there's two things. One, we're going to see the microverse, because probably Ant-Man and Wasp are supposed to go into that, or the quantum verse, or whatever they call it in the MCU. And also, we're going to meet Captain Marvel.
Yeah, and
that
those
was the
movies,
last.
Those
Go
are those are both before the next Avengers movie, and Captain Marvel's right before the next Avengers movie.
Well, see,
When
I
is,
didn't know anything about Captain Marvel until the end scene.
So you saw her
and then
symbol.
my girlfriend told me about it. Yeah.
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 I was gonna ask, like, when what's his name at the end when he drops the beeper?
Yes.
Yeah, Nick Fury.
Nick Fury. Samuel
What
L.
is
Jackson
that?
playing Nick Fury.
What is
Yeah.
that symbol?
That
That's
is
Captain
Captain Marvel's.
Marvel.
Yep, that's her uniform, basically, her uniform symbol. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's why
Yeah.
I was like, I bet you that.
And I'm assuming that the Ant-Man and Wasp and Captain Marvel movies are going to be taking place, like, timeline-wise after, like...
Ant-Man and Wasp is supposed to be, like, just before Thanos shows up, I think. So it's supposed to be after
They said
Captain
something
America's
about
freed them
Ant-Man.
from the...
Yeah, Ant-Man had, was under house arrest.
right,
That's
it's
why
after Captain America's freedom, and he goes under house arrest, basically. Yeah, and then who knows where Hawkeye is.
Yeah, with Korg, hopefully, having, like, awesome dinner.
All right, so we're running low on time, guys. Time here, guys. However, we have some questions we gotta get to from our fans out there. All right, so the first couple of these are gonna come from Dave Folmsby. Yes, and Captain Marvel is in the 90s, as Lotan just posted. He's absolutely
okay.
correct about that. Yeah, it's supposed to take place in the 90s, so I'm thinking she's not on Earth, which is why the pager looked, why he's using a pager in 2000s, and it looked kind of sci-fi-ish, like, because it has to send a signal across to the Skrull homeworld world or something, whatever. But anyways,
That'll
Dave
be
Folmsy.
interesting.
Let's see, what was his questions? All right, we talked about that one already. Oh, so one of the things that he hopes will happen is that Iron Fist will be one of the ones to die off screen. Quick vote. Who hopes that Iron Fist is one of the guys that dies off screen? I'm raising my hand.
Yeah, it's like,
All right, so 2 of us are voting for Iron Fist turned into dust.
I hope that he does, and like nobody was around to see him go.
Iron Fist.
Iron Fist is
He's the martial arts guy from the Netflix
yeah,
like series.
the one Netflix Marvel series that kind of sucks.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The one I refuse to watch.
Yeah, you're not
One
missing
day.
anything. I actually do hope that he turns to dust and they use it as a point to reset the character. Like somebody else has to go fight the dragon now and plunge their hand into the heart of it, and now they're the new Iron Fist, and we start over. Let's see. What was the other one?
Wakanda.
We answered that one already.
Oh,
Here's another one that's relevant to
shield
the
back
Blue Elephant Brigade. So, for those that don't know, Nathan Waldron is one of the original founding members of Blue Elephant Brigade, and he has a large head. And Dave Folmsy wanted to know, is Nate's head big enough to count as a second person? And if so, do you think both head and body would still be around by the end of the movie? Or would one vanish, and which?
maybe like part of it disappears and the rest just like shrinks to normal proportions.
Well, in Total Recall, you had the that weird guy with the I don't know what you call him.
The head and the
Kotar
body.
or
Oh, yeah.
Quotal, right?
Yeah,
Quato.
Quato.
Quato. So they were they considered themselves 2 people, right? So Megan Noggin and Nate Waldron. You know,
Okay.
qualify as 2
Yeah.
people.
All right, and then we have a couple questions from let's see, Jared Lytle, who is also on the ship with us back in our Navy days. So when Groot died, why didn't the handles of Thor's axe disintegrate? I would say because they weren't part of Groot anymore, because he cut off his arms, and so it's not just a chunk of wood.
I mean, even in the
Yeah, I
original,
guess.
when Groot like blew up, like there was pieces of him everywhere.
Makes me think that like, why? How come they aren't taking cuttings off of him and like growing more like of himself? They should be like gardening that guy.
Right? I mean, if you figure if that wood is strong enough to be the handle of Stormbreaker, that's some valuable wood.
Like,
Yeah.
seriously, guys, I am Groot.
Somebody needs to make Black Widow a shaft out of that wood. That's her new
Yeah.
weapon for next time she fights
Yeah.
Corvus Glaive.
That was disgusting.
Yeah, get a Captain America shield made out of it. Get an Iron Man suit made out of it.
I am looking
With
forward to.
Groot Hulkbuster. That's what I want to see.
There we go. Exactly, a wooden Hulk. But so that's another thing that bothered me too. That's where I felt like they skipped over some stuff that they should have explained.
Oh,
Is
the
how
Hulk
the hell
part.
did Banner end up with a Hulkbuster suit?
Oh, well, Tony had one already for.
He had one,
Yeah, I
but
assume that
it's
like,
not like
Tony,
you can just
like-
get it. Like is
They're, like,
Friday just
self-automated
handing these things
flying,
out now?
like-
Well, I want to know how Tony keeps affording to make all of these dozens and dozens of suits that must cost multiple millions of dollars a suit.
You know,
It's
you know,
mass
like-
production at this point.
Government
He just had to
contracts.
build them in his garage. But yeah,
Except he never gives them to anybody.
in Iron Man 2, they revealed that all the suits were like could fly themselves and everything. So
right.
I'm
But
sure that
it's
Tony
more
could
of
be,
like, wouldn't it be locked up somewhere? Like, I mean, is Friday just passing out suits? Oh, I can't speak to Tony anymore. Dad's away. Let's give away some suits. Here you go, guys.
Oh, and the freaking nanobots, the nanobot suit. You know,
That was cool.
Why would it? Yeah, but why would it not automatically start fixing him without him, making it do that? You would think it would be smart enough to know that he's damaged and just start fucking doing it. Nanobots are way smarter than.
Yeah, I kind of liked how they did it, though. Like the fact that it was like a limited supply of nanobots, and like he was like sacrificing parts of the suit in order to maintain his weapons and stuff like that, and like
Side
basically
note,
scavenging from itself.
Christ, Bobber.
Nanobots are supposed to be able to create more nanobots.
It's not gray slime, okay, or gray goo.
Very good.
Yeah,
You could just have,
have you ever heard that in World Prophecy that will create nanobots that just start to eat everything and basically turn into gray goo for the entire surface of the Earth?
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah,
All right, guys.
He could have had just a bunch of masks behind him of nanobots that he could have pulled from then or something.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Sick them on Thanos. Have the nanobots attack Thanos.
Encase him in a suit.
There you go. Blow it up. Repeat of Iron Man 3. Well, guys, that has been our. We went 10 minutes over, but I think we did pretty well, keeping this, relatively short. And we got anything
there's still more that we could talk about.
What's that?
There's still much more that we could talk about.
I could talk about this all night. Yeah, that wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah. I think we covered a lot of it, though. Covered most of everything I wanted to say about it.
I think there should have been more Black Widow.
I talked about wine. I'm good.
Yeah, Black Widow. I really enjoyed. I really liked watching her and not Suri, the bodyguard. What's her name?
I know what you're talking about, but I thought her part was kind of weak. After she's not alone, and then that was disgusting. That's okay, guys.
Well, I liked watching the two of them fight against who they fight. Not Ebony Maw.
The daughter with the.
Yeah, what was her name? Not Clovis Glade. Not Ebony Maw.
Daughter with the.
Yeah.
That's what I call her.
I think I was chanting chick fight.
The tiefling.
Yeah, tiefling.
Tiefling.
D&D reference.
Ah.
All right, guys. Well, hopefully you've enjoyed this. Our recap of the awesomeness that is Avengers Infinity War. For those of you listening to this, just so you know, we'll be doing another live episode in about 2 weeks when we have our actual Blue Orphan Brigade reunion, our 10th annual reunion. We're all getting together in Charleston, South Carolina, and we'll be doing a live broadcast from the house out there. Also, be sure to follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, on wherever else we have here on Twitch. Make sure to subscribe to our Twitch channel. And hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. So,
are we doing a solo movie out there? Is that the plan?
Oh, I think so. That's one of the things we've been talking about for out in when we have a reunion. We may all go watch the Solo movie together, Star Wars Solo, and then get together afterwards and discuss that live at the house. Although,
yeah, should be good. Should be a good time.
As I watch the trailers, I wish more and more that it was Calrissian was the movie title, but it's all good.
Yeah, maybe next year.
He seems like a more interesting character in the trailers.
I was very impressed by the trailer with the amount of actors that I like.
Tabby has a lady boner.
Well, no, I meant hey, I don't know anything about this backstory, but I'm totally willing to watch these actors.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun, at least if nothing else.
Yeah.
So,
all
right, guys. Cool. Well, I will talk to you guys later.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
See ya. Have a good night.